folks, Grandpa here from SOP. Our country is under attack, plain and simple. We have a group of traitors. Traitor being defined under the Constitution and the military as a person who does things against our Constitution which are unlawful. Therefore, it's also done against our country. A traitor is defined by somebody who is of this country doing said things. We have a bunch of traitors in our country, plain and simple. We're not going to beat around the bush. We're going to be blunt, honest, clean, but honest. So, why am I doing this video? Why am I making another Second Amendment video? Well, that's where the basis for this video is coming from. This video is about one state in particular, which is where I'm going to base 90% of what we go through on, that they're doing illegal things. They're violating the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all the amendments. They're violating it all. And they're getting away with it because there is no checks and balance for them, because they are the ruler of that state. And let's just call it what it is. They were elected by people to be their ruler. And they got in office, and they think, since now we're a ruler, we can do as we please, which is a violation of the public's trust. Since the public trusted these people to go into office and act legislation that would actually benefit the people, not harm somebody's constitutional sovereign right. And I'm not talking sovereign citizen, stating that, the laws don't apply. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking the sovereign citizens of the United States who follow the law implicitly. Okay, one of the things I'm going to say right now is I do not condone illegal activities. I do not condone going to places with the intention of causing problems. We have enough terrorist organizations within this country to do that as it is, one of which being Antifa, defined by the letter of the law as a terrorist organization on our home soil. That being said, that is what the Second Amendment was written originally for, is to protect the people of this country from threats, foreign and domestic. Antifa is a domestic terrorist group, as, like I said, defined by the letters from the Department of Justice. And all you got to do is go back, they're all public record, go do some homework, you'll find it, where the definition of terrorism group comes from, or the groups they define, and what they use as points to define that group. You'll see Antifa is one of those. I do not condone violence. I won't. Will I protect my child? You better believe it. And I will use any means necessary to protect said child. And that goes for my other two boys, which are at home right now as well. Your kids? You darn right I will. I will do what I can to protect your children as well. Hence the reason for this video. Because you know what? We all live in America. Whether you agree with the president or not, whether you agree with your Congress members or not, we are American citizens. We were born in this country. Therefore, by definition of the law, we are American citizens. We are governed by our sheriff, which is the law of the land, according to the Constitution of the United States, and the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States. And why the Declaration? Because it's what gives us our freedom. Okay. And the amendments to the Constitution. Now, let's kind of go over a few quick things here. In a live stream I was a part of earlier, let's go here. We were discussing, not now, anywho, we were discussing what's going on in Virginia. The laws being passed. There's 4 bills, 3 bills, can't remember, and I don't have them in front of me. Unfortunately, I couldn't pull them up because right now I just can't find them. But I'm sure somebody will be happy enough to post it down in the comments below what the 3 or 4 bills are that are currently violating constitutional law. No, I'm not a lawyer, but I do read up from time to time on the Constitution, what it says, versus the laws that are being passed on by certain legislative bodies. Ohio has this issue, just not to the extent of Virginia. That's why Virginia right now is at the forefront. All the patriots in this country. And I'm not talking gun-toting, Bible-thumping, of course most of them are, people who are energetic about what their belief is. Because if you're not energized about what's going on, then you're asleep. Time to take off the rose-colored glasses, as somebody else put it once. Wake up, smell that ground coffee, and I'm not talking that decaf stuff that everybody else is drinking. Get yourself some leaded coffee and let's drink. No, I left mine way over there and I'm not going to get it right now. So, they're talking about making anything over 9 rounds capacity a felony. It is a weapon of mass destruction. Yeah, I'm using my own words. But that's what they're trying to classify it as. It's an assault weapon. And they classify assault weapons as weapons of mass destruction because, man, you could just do so much with them. You know, in a crowded room with a knife, I could do almost as much, the right knife now, mind you, the right knife. I could do almost, well, probably more damage than a bullet. Okay? That's the honest to God's truth. And I know a lot of good other people out there that are just as qualified with knives as they are with their weapons. That's part of being prepared. Be prepared for any emergency. You're out in the woods and you get attacked by a wild animal. You don't have time to pull a pistol to defend yourself from that animal. The only thing you can get to is your knife, because you're already on your back. You gotta know how to use that knife. That being said, no, I'm not trying to advocate for UK laws on knives. Anything but. We don't need that over here too. And for my friends over in the UK, I am so sorry about that. You should be able to carry a knife with you at any time that locks, or a fixed blade that's longer than that. But getting back on topic here, they're trying to make it so it's a felony to have anything over that size. Anything that looks scary is illegal. It's a felony. Any magazine that you have that's over 9 rounds, not just the weapon, but the magazine, is a felony. So right there's 3 counts for a lot of people. Because when they bought the weapon, and I'm going to use pistols for an example here, they went out and bought a Glock 17 and they got a Glock 19 as backup. Okay. That 17 holds more than 9, so does the 19. The magazines also come stock, and depending on the model you buy, you come with 3 or 4 extra mags. That makes you a multiple time felon right there. It's not, you don't get 1 count for everything, you get 1 count per item. That's the way it was worded. And so the legislature down there is putting this all into place, or they're trying to. And that goes into effect in 2020. Now, I'm going to put a link down below to everything that I'm fixing to use here. And one of the things that the congressman suggested that he use is to use military enforcement of the new Virginia gun laws. Governor promises consequences. Let's see if I can get this down here where I can read it. A U.S. congressman suggested that Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, who there's a petition to remove him from office for a vote of no confidence, I will link that down below as well, to deploy the National Guard to enforce laws in the countries that declare themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries. Ultimately, I am not the governor, the person said, and that would be Rep. Donald McEachin. He's not the governor, but the governor may have to nationalize the National Guard to enforce the law. Well, there's a question. Can he do that? Well, let me read you this. On a state level, a governor may declare martial law within his or her own state to do substantially, the power to do so, is usually granted in the state constitution. The Congress has never declared martial law, which would be for national. Okay. So what's this saying? Can he do it? Yep. So people are going to bring up posse comitatus. And hold on, I have to pull that one back up again because I actually closed that out when I moved the laptop over to here. Takes a minute. And go here. Come on, computer. Now I'm going to read the whole Posse Comitatus Act. I'm trying not to mince my words here. The Posse Comitatus Act is a United States federal law, 18 U.S.C. 1385, original at 20 Stat 152. Signed on June 18, 1878, so it's an old law, by President Rutherford B. Hayes. The purpose of the Act, in concert with the Insurrection Act of 1807, is to limit the powers of the federal government in using military personnel to enforce domestic policies within our own soil, the United States. It was passed as an amendment to an Army appropriation bill following the end of the Reconstruction, and was updated in '56 and in 1981. The Act specifically applies only to the United States Army and, as amended in 1956, the United States Air Force. Although the Act does not explicitly mention the United States Navy and the U.S. Marine Corps, the Department of Navy has prescribed regulations that generally construed to give the Act force with respect to these services as well. Which means the Navy said, you know what, we're going to follow along with the Army and Marines, or Air Force, I mean. And the Marines kind of followed suit. So where does that leave us? That does not prevent the National Army Guard or the National Air Guard under state, which Virginia is a state, Commonwealth, from enacting law enforcement capacity within its home state or an adjacent state if invaded by the state's governor. Well, there was a theory brought up that they may ask for New York's help. Well, guess what? New York is not a bordering state, therefore New York National Guard cannot act in a military police fashion because it's not a national emergency. Now, under national emergencies, there are certain givens that would allow that to happen. Thus, not being a national emergency, but a statewide emergency, really not legal. The U.S. Coast Guard, on the other hand, which operates under the Department of Homeland Security, is not covered by the Posse Comitatus Act either. Primarily because the Coast Guard is an armed service, it is also both maritime law and a federal regulatory agency mission, being stopping the drugs. That's where the federal regulatory mission comes from. So, the last part of it, the title of the act comes from the legal concept of posse comitatus, the authority on which a county sheriff or other law officer conscripts any able-bodied person to keep in assisting the peace. So what's all that mean? Well, guess what? The governor can use the National Guard, both Air and Army, in policing the state. Okay? But according to other legislative stuff, you know, I'm not going to get into that, the sheriff is the supreme law of each county. And as such, they are in charge of their people. Therefore, that's why some sheriffs in Virginia are going to deputize their citizenry in order to uphold the law of the county. They're not saying state, the county. By definition of federal law, and here's some homework for you, each sheriff can actually kick out federal agencies because they are the supreme law of the county. They are duly elected officials. I'm trying to talk too fast. So when a congressman, Ralph Northam, states that he might call, or I shouldn't say he did it, let me rephrase that. Donald McGeehan said that the governor might call in National Guard, which I'm sure has been referenced somewhere in somebody else's conversation, otherwise he wouldn't have put all this together, to enforce the gun laws in the counties. He also said there will be consequences. And as in my other video, I clearly stated, before this even came out, or at least before I was made aware of it anyway, they'll just do their best to destroy each county where the people set up constitutional or sanctuary cities. And they made it clear that's exactly what they're going to do. So why here in Ohio do I care? Well, they've already got similar gun laws passed in California, to a degree. They've enacted similar laws in Illinois, New York, and a few other states. And like I said, they've got the West Coast done, they're working on the East Coast, and when all that's done, they're just going to come right here to the middle of us all. And Ohio's even got laws that are they are unconstitutional laws. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on YouTube. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, these are unconstitutional. The Constitution and the laws that have been written therein and around it state that you cannot create a law that violates a person's constitutional right. Therefore, you can't write laws that violate the Constitution. Okay, had a technical difficulty there with the camera. Got hot. Because it's a hot topic, actually. So I went and got me some coffee. Got yours? Good. So we ain't done yet. Back to the topic. All these laws that are being enacted are violations of the Constitution, violation of a person's civil rights, and yet we have government officials that are getting away with these things. Well, we elected these people. I didn't elect those in Virginia, but you see my point. The point is, once they're in there, they're taking other people's money, spreading that money throughout their state, which the person that they're getting money from shouldn't be able to do that. Just my personal opinion. And let's just call out the person, Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York, spending millions upon millions upon millions to enact these gun laws. And it's frustrating. Because he spent money here in Ohio, he spent a lot of money down in Virginia, he spent money in almost every state. And all total, he spent hundreds of millions. The rate he's going, he's going to be broke just like the rest of us. Either that or he's getting money from somebody else, which we're all pretty sure he is. That's not the point, though. Point is, he's not a resident of that state. He shouldn't be allowed to spend money to try and change its laws. That's my point. It'd be no different than if I was a multimillionaire or billionaire or whatever, and decided I wanted to change laws in California. I shouldn't, as a citizen of Ohio, because that's where I'm from, obviously, I shouldn't be able to go to another state and say, here's $100 million, change your laws. Because that's an outside actor influencing that state's activities. Okay? Isn't that what this whole Russia collusion thing was? An outside actor interfering with our nation's election? Wasn't that what all that was about? It's an outside actor. They don't live here. Influencing. Well, that's basically what Michael Bloomberg is doing. And I might even get my channel killed because of this, but he shouldn't be able to go to any other state other than the one he lives in, donate money, which donating, in my personal opinion, unless you're running for a federal office, you shouldn't be able to get money from any other state. That's just my personal opinion. Okay? And I know some may agree and a majority might not. Don't care. I'm not here to be politically correct or polite to anybody at this point. The point is, a lot of shady things happen that allow unconstitutional things happen in each state. As I've already pointed out, the state's governor has supreme law of that state as far as calling up the National Guard to act as a police force. They can do that. Now, the federal law states the federal law is the supreme law of the land. Okay, the whole land. All continental, or 48 states, plus Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico and all that stuff, still the law. Unless a state's law is more stringent. Well, that's where the whole, we're going to enact these gun laws into policy because our law is more stringent than the federal law. Well, the problem is that law that they're enacting is unconstitutional. Now, when I went to school, many years back that way, we were actually taught what the Constitution is, what it says, what it meant. We had to do essays on this stuff. We had to write about all the amendments, and we had to list at least the first sentence or two of each amendment for a grade. They're not taught that this day and age. They're given a brief summary in school, and that's it. You know, it's the whole, what do they call that again? Common Core bull. Snot. Yes, BS, bull snot. Common Core is a joke. Common Core is designed to indoctrinate, not educate. They want to change the past to make it all rainbows and unicorns. Well, I'm sorry, our history is not rainbows and unicorns. It's blood, it's nasty, it's miserable at times. It was pretty nasty quite a few times in our history as a nation. I'm talking from the minute we landed at Plymouth Rock. And sorry for the background noise, my neighbors are yelling. But the point to that is, our history is our history. And if you're uneducated about our history, you're doomed to repeat it. In order to not repeat history, you have to go back and learn it. The true history. Even its gory, nasty, ugly details. You have to learn it to not repeat it. Now, let's go back in history just a little bit. We're going to go back to the late 1930s. When a young man came into power, and he said, we need to take all the weapons away from our people. Only the military should have weapons. Of course, I'm kind of throwing that part in, but that was the gist of it. And then he did all that. He took it away, and the people were, yay, we're safe. What happened after that? History tells us it got pretty nasty. World War II. Let's just put it bluntly, the annihilation of a bunch of people within its own country. We all know who it is. It's the Jewish people. Okay? Over 6 million of them. I am a firm supporter of Israel, and if you don't like that, that's okay. No problem with that. It's your prerogative. We can agree to disagree right now, okay? I like it. If you don't, that's cool. I'm not going to ask you to go away and never come back. No. Stick around. Maybe we can chat about it sometime. My email is in my About section of my tab. Go check it out. Hit me up. We'll chat it via email. We're not going to do it out here in public. Because one way or another, one of us is going to wind up in trouble with YouTube. Because they're going to say, oh, you're doing this, you're doing it. And when we're really not, we're just actually trying to hash it out to voice each other's opinions. But when it comes to the Second Amendment, it's one of the things that God gave us. How so? God gives us the right to govern ourselves. Okay, that's my personal belief. And our founding fathers understood that as well. We are granted certain inalienable rights granted to each person. For as the Bible said, and our founding fathers said, all men are created equal, and yes, I'm referring to women too. I won't even try that little poppycock thing. But, men and women are created equal in God's eyes. Whether you believe Him or not, in Him or not, you are still created equal. And I pray for each and every person on this planet every single day, whether they believe in God or not. You know why? Because God created us equal, and He said we should pray for our neighbors. Well, just because they don't live down my street doesn't mean they're not my neighbors. Again, personal belief. And you might not agree. That's okay. I have no problem with that. It's your opinion. Going back to our rights. I'm sorry, I keep going off topic a little bit. There's been a lot of call in the patriot community, we'll put it that way, to stand up, which I agree with. Have your voices heard, I agree with that too. Unfortunately, there are some radical people out there wanting to go down there with multiple weapons in hand to do a show of force. The problem is, too much force, as we will say, is exactly what they want. Some bad actor is going to get in there, cause an issue, somebody's going to get shot. Guess who's going to get blamed? Everybody protecting the Second Amendment. Then the National Guard's going to get called in, and we all know where that's going to go because they've already said what they're going to do. Now, I do believe it's January 20th. I don't remember. And it doesn't say here. But that's when there's a group in Virginia, and I'll have to go get the link for it again. I got to go look it back up. It's actually in Will Patriots live stream description. He'll have it posted for the Virginia Citizens League. Yeah, the Virginia Citizens Defense League, VCDL. That's it. And if I can remember to, I'll try and throw a link in here myself. But on the 20th of January, they're actually going to go, and I do believe it's to Richmond, and show support for Second Amendment. To let the governor know that what they're trying to do is not only unconstitutional, but against the people's will. Now, there are people talking about going down there fully armed and ready to rock and roll in full battle gear. Don't. You're playing right into their hands. Like I said, some bad actor is going to go down there and start something. Somebody's going to get shot, and us as patriots are going to be the ones getting blamed for it. I don't want to see that happen. Do I say go down completely on it? No. If you're licensed to carry, then carry. Just don't go down there with a long gun and 30-round magazines up strapped to your chest and a bulletproof plate carrier. Looking too militaristic is exactly what they want. It's playing right into their hands. Also, I highly recommend anybody that can be down there, be there. The more people, the better. Take cameras, take cell phones, take multiple. You know, if I could be down there, I'd have 3 cell phones and a camera going. That way I could make sure I could tape everything with non-stop footage via one device or another. Quality might be kind of stinky, but, you know, still get it done. So, yeah, I highly encourage anybody that can be down there to be there. Show your support. Like I said, I'll put a link to the petition. I do believe only Virginia residents can actually participate in that. But if you know people in the Virginia area, state, and they are a patriot, then make sure they get that link so they can sign the petition. Because as of right now, it's at 2024, the 2,500 they would like. I would like to see that hit like about 10 grand myself as a patriot. But it hasn't gained much traction since it was originally proposed 10 months ago. Okay. With those issues being, it's unconstitutional. I can't stress that enough. And you know what? I wouldn't mind a few senators on the Judiciary Committee getting a hold of this video, because what I'm saying is God's honest truth. And the Judiciary Committee, wow, words are having difficulty today. I'm trying to think of my sentence before I say it. That committee is about the only one that can put a check and balance on what's going on down there by saying, hey, look, this is wrong, and being able to put the right people on it. At least that's my understanding of those committees. And eventually it'll have to go to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court follows rule of law and constitutional, the way it's written, constitutional way it's written, they have to say that everything that they're doing is unconstitutional. And what they're doing is an act of treason. Excuse me. And again, we've already went over treason. Uno momento. You know, and the Democrats like to say, oh, these people hold on to their God and country. Yeah. God, country. More country. So we need to stand up, be heard. If you're not willing to stand up and be heard, then you're part of the sheeple. Email your congressman. And the more people in every state that email their congressman and say, hey, look at this going down in Virginia. Okay? How can you, as a member of Congress, sit there, watch this happen and do nothing, and then it creep into our state? We don't want this. I don't want it in Ohio. The red flag laws in Ohio, if my neighbor gets mad at me and says, oh, he's going to hurt somebody, well, they're going to break down my door, take everything I own with any inclination of being a weapon, and that means my walking stick. It means any rolled up magazine I got with a rubber band around it, because guess what? If you know how to use it, that can be a very deadly weapon. It's a baton. Okay? I've got well, they are weapons in my house. Lots of them. No firearms though, because of the laws, which are unconstitutional. I, as a law-abiding citizen, should be able to have a shotgun, a hunting rifle, in any caliber I need. Because of my current disabilities, I need something that's capable of shooting, taking down a deer, and does not hurt me in the process. I can't shoot a 12 gauge. I will be in immense pain for a long time. Seriously though, I got to get a better camera. I didn't, seeing as how we had another issue with it, it overheated. I went ahead and looked up the Virginia Citizens Defense League website, and I will post a link to it. And I'll read it right here. They will be having buses for people in Virginia from certain areas to be able to get to their event, so you can stand up and be heard. If you have any direct questions about busing, bus at vcdl.org. They are taking donations to help pay for all of this. So if you can, go to the link I'll drop down below so you can just help. They will be having buses from Roanoke, Shenandoah Valley, Fairfax, Fredericksburg, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Hampton. So if you live anywhere near those areas, you'll be able to get a bus ride to the event. Well, that's kind of what it is. Also, Clapper, Warrenton, Manassas, Southampton, Staunton, Southwest Virginia, Washington County, and Wyers Cave. Those are all the places. Let's see. And as they say, Second Amendment sanctuaries fighting back against tyranny. And it's, again, unconstitutional. According to our Constitution, what they're doing is wrong. The VCDL Lobby Day is Monday, January 20th, 2020. So it's coming up quick. And you can join up for emails. You do not have to be a citizen of the state of Virginia or Commonwealth of Virginia. You can be anywhere. And showing outside support will help because it gives them another voice. So whether you live there or somewhere else, go get email. Sign up for their emails. I am. And again, make sure you let your Congress people know. And not just the Republicans, even though some of them are just sitting there going, oops, sorry, I woke up my key. Sorry, Titan. Anywho, some of them are just sitting there with twiddling their thumbs, not doing anything. Make sure you inform the Democrats as well, because the more people I hear that has got a loud voice against what they're trying to do, the better off we're going to be. Because as they've proven, time and time and time again, they're going to do stupid things. The old adage goes, give a person enough rope and they'll hang themselves. Well, I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that somebody go out and commit suicide. No, that's 180 degrees from what I'm trying to say. It's an adage. In other words, a person will do something to put themselves in jeopardy legally if you give them enough time. And as some of these guys are doing, they are putting themselves in legal jeopardy by violating the Constitution of the United States. What they're doing is illegal. It is a form of insurrection. Insurrection is tyranny. It's a mutiny. And if you want to get back to the maritime laws, it is a mutiny. And in the old wars that we've had, if you committed mutiny or tyranny while on the battlefield, you could be summarily shot on sight for such a crime. No, I'm not recommending that. No, don't get that out of your heads. What I'm saying is stand up and get your voices heard. Because once they're done with Virginia, if everything passes Virginia, and everybody I know down there, there's a few, instantly become felons, it's only a matter of time before it hits your state. I'm warning you, they've already done one side, they've done the outsides, they're working their way towards the center. Texas used to be a pro-gun state. Not so much anymore. Ohio used to be pro-gun. Not so much anymore. Guess what? Hey, my friends in Michigan, guess what? Your state's falling too. Just look at the laws that are trying to be enacted. Some of them are being kept under wraps or being tucked neatly inside other packages that are going to pass with flying colors. They're just kind of shoved into the bottom of it. Political witchery. That's why you need to stay informed about what's going on in your state. I can't stress this enough. It's tyranny. When these members of Congress took an oath, they took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. Same as military, same as law. The president himself has to take that oath. Just worded differently in some areas, but it all boils down to the exact same thing. And if they take that oath to defend the Constitution and then therefore subvert the Constitution, it is illegal. We need to get the members of Congress, the members of our courts, and our highest court is the Supreme Court, and let them know that we do not agree with the actions of these people because they are unconstitutional. My last point before my camera dies again. Colonel Noir makes this point. Members of the USCCA, and if you're not a member of the USCCA, get your butt over there and get signed up. They help fight for gun rights as well. And they offer training. Lots of training. So if you're not trained, go check out the USCCA. They got little packages and they got big packages for membership. You get insurance. You get a lawyer if you ever have to use your weapon in self-defense. And that's the key word there in self-defense, legal self-defense. They will help get you an attorney and help you fight. But get hooked up with these groups. The good ones. I'm not recommending the NRA. No, sorry. I know there's people that I respect that are part of the NRA, and that's good for them. Okay? They can support the NRA. I don't see the NRA as having my back. That's just my personal purview of their group. But where was I going? ADHD is so much fun. 1 second. Go get training, get hooked up with these groups, get informed, keep them informed, letting you say, hey, no, this ain't right, it's illegal. We have to get our voices heard. We have to stop the tyranny that's happening within our government, and most of it's underlying, that's where I was going, the point. A lot of legislation is buried in a bill that is going to pass. So they take and dig deep down at the very bottom of it and they talk Article Section 51, 12, 22, sub C, blah, 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 however they want to word it. And they tuck in this little teeny cut bill at the very bottom. And when you look at the stuff that's up for legislation or up for approval, all you see is the main title. Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for that. Click. Guess what? You just voted in a gun law. A non-constitutional gun law. So make sure you're reading about all this stuff that you're trying to, pass in your house when you go out to vote. Make sure when you vote for somebody who is true to your cause. And that goes for Democrats too. I mean, you know, they need somebody they can vote for. Sorry. Oh, the original point I was going to try and get back to before my camera overheats. Calling everyone, I can't even say it now. Mr. Noir and others make this point very validly, as do the records of each state on gun activity, gun crimes. States like California, Illinois, and others, who have the most stringent gun laws in the country at the moment, their crime rate is a lot higher than states where you can carry. And especially in those states where you can carry openly and you don't get accosted every 5 seconds by somebody for doing it. Bad people with bad intentions are going to do bad things regardless of the laws placed in front of them. Do drug dealers care that it's illegal to sell drugs? No, they don't. They do it anyway, regardless of the fact that it costs people lives. My son lost his mother. Now, she made the choice to do drugs. That's on her. But the guy she bought from, he sold her fentanyl-laced drugs. Guess what? That guy is still walking free. He's never been arrested because they don't know who it is. She did. So, did he give a darn? Nope. He didn't give a rat's butt at all the fact that he broke the law. He got away with it. He made his money and he's still selling his crap to other people. The same with people who use guns illegally. They get them illegally. Most of the time, they break into a gun store and steal from the gun store. There's been way too many instances of that lately. Because, to a degree, illegal weapons are being gotten off the street. Illegal. But the problem is, criminals are going to get their guns one way or another. There is a black market for them. And at one time I knew people who dabbled in it. I don't anymore. I don't associate with them once I found out what they were doing. Because I didn't want to get caught up in the crap. But they're going to get guns no matter what we do. Even if they take all of our guns, bad people are still going to get them. It's a proven fact. Most of the people in Illinois can't have a gun to carry. Yet the criminals over there carry them constantly and they don't care. Cop shows up, they just take shots at the cop. Oh, we don't care. I care. I support the men in blue, or brown, or whatever color they happen to be wearing for their uniform, as well as our members of the military, no matter what branch it is. Bad people are going to do bad things. All these gun laws are doing in Virginia is to create more felons. It's not to get guns off the street away from criminals. It's taking it away from the good people who are there to do a job every day. They go to work, they pay their taxes. We're not going to get into the debate of that, okay? That's not for this. They go home and they take care of their families. They want to be able to protect their family should somebody break in their front door and try to rob them or hurt them. That is why we should be able to keep our guns. If somebody breaks in that door, I ain't got a gun, so I can't shoot him. So my defense in Ohio is going to get really shaky because now I'm going to have to go hands-on if he threatens my child. Or in essence, if he threatens me, which by extension threatens my child, I'm going to have to go hands-on. I'm probably going to get hurt in the process because that's his intention, but I'm going to hurt him as well. Oh great, now I got to go to court because I defended my home and my son and myself from this guy who I just landed in the hospital for God knows how long, if I don't wind up doing the worst. Now I got to go to court to fight for my own freedom, even though I defended myself legally. Okay, that in itself is wrong, but that's a debate for another day. My point is, I should be able to have the right to retreat to the back of my home. And yes, I'm saying I need the right to be able to retreat to the back of my home so I can protect my son in an area that I can have, there's only one way to get in. That way if they try, and I'll do my best to warn them, hey, don't come in here, or else I should have the right to defend my son and myself from any attacker who decides that they want to do harm to me or my son. That's my right. And there should be no politician anywhere that is trying to take my rights away. I only got a few more minutes of this thing's going to overheat again, so I'm going to try and make this quick. Let me summarize by saying this. The laws they're enacting in Virginia are unconstitutional. It's a form of tyranny. It's treason. There are other states that are enacting the same treasonous laws. By definition, they are treasonous. They took an oath to defend this country against foreign and domestic threats. They themselves are becoming the threat and creating unconstitutional laws. A form of treason. Treason is, again, when somebody from a country, U.S., makes a law that subverts our Constitution, that is treason. Because it's violating our Constitution. Causing an act that is unconstitutional. Saying you're going to call out our armed service members, and the National Guard is an armed service group, to go against American citizens, to take their weapons away from them, which if they go door to door to take a weapon, you're instantly a felon because you didn't turn it in. They have to confiscate it. You can be arrested on the spot. They're not telling y'all that part. Oh, let's sign House Bill 68, or 64, I'm sorry, into record. Okay, now it's a law. You're the National Guard. You go to this person's house, he's got registered one gun, take it from him. Well, they go there, you're an instant felon because you didn't turn it in. And anything else they find makes you a multiple felon. They can arrest you on the spot if you resist. Well, God only knows what's going to happen. That's why a lot of patriots are saying arm up. To a degree I agree, and to a degree I disagree. I'll leave that alone. Get informed, get knowledge, get your voice heard. If you can be there on the 20th, be there. If you don't want to carry, that's cool. Take cameras, multiple cameras, and constantly record wherever you're at. We need as many different views as possible. Angles. Okay, angles. High, down low, street level, up at the dais where the people are talking. Get our voice heard. Not just me here in Ohio. There's an entire nation of patriots. And we're not some fringe group. It's the patriots that made this country what it is. If it wasn't for patriots, the USA would still be part of Britain. Or England, I'm sorry, England. Sorry, Brits, England. We'd still be under a king or queen's rule. We fought their rule because it was unjust. Taxation without representation, remember? Remember your history? Alright, so in closing, see that again. Yeah, bad people are going to do bad things. We've already seen it. Take and get prepared, folks. What we defend is what we leave to our kids. I want my kid to have a free America, not a dictatorship, not something imposed by people who have no clue what's actually going on, who have never lived a real life, contrary to what they tell you. This flag means a lot to me and a lot of people I know. Stop the corruption, stop. And we can't stop it unless we get our voices heard. Get out there, get it done. Just be safe in doing it. Don't put yourself in a position where they will use it against you. Of course, they're going to try anyway, but like I said, it's a somber moment. Because Virginia never thought it would happen to them, yet it did. It is. I mean, I'm just don't know what else to say other than what I've already said. I'm looking at you right now. There's people that watch my channel that sit back in the shadows that don't say nothing. Either step up or step out. If you're not going to step up, get your voices heard, stand up for what's right, and step out of the way and let those of us who actually give a dang about this country do what we need to do to get it done. Because if you're not helping solve the problem, you're actually part of the problem. And for that, I'll end this video here. Until next time, Grumpy from Southern Ohio Prepping also stands for Standard Operating Procedure. Stop the corruption within our government. The Democrats are abusing the powers they're given. As a fact, whether they want to admit it or not, they're creating unconstitutional laws. They're using unconstitutional powers in unjust ways. They think they own this country. They forget that it's the voters that put them in office. They're there, according to the Constitution, to serve us as its members, not to serve themselves or some other political gain or company. They're there to serve us as people. What they're doing is treason. Get your voices heard. Get it out there. Get it done.